Imagine a tremendous glass-shattering sound. Did you hear that? That's the sound of no less than 25 empires collapsing during and in the immediate aftermath of the world wars. A seismic shift in global power that forever changed the course of human history. Picture, if you will, a world where the sun never set on the British Empire. The Ottoman sultans ruled from Istanbul, and the Russian Tsars commanded an empire spanning 3 continents. This was the world before the wars, a world of empires and monarchies, a world that was about to be irrevocably changed. The First World War, often called the Great War, was a cataclysmic event that sent shockwaves through the empires of the world. Was it not what Jesus said when he spoke about wars? Nations rising against nations as the beginning of birth pangs. The Ottoman, Russian, German, and Austro-Hungarian empires crumbled under the weight of the conflict, their foundations shaken to the core. The mighty Ottoman Empire, which had stood for over 600 years, was partitioned into several new nations, Jerusalem freed from its grip. The Russian Empire collapsed, making way for the Soviet Union. The German and Austro-Hungarian empires splintered into smaller, independent nations. The Second World War, only 2 decades later, further accelerated the decline of empires. The British, French, and Dutch empires, among others, were drained of their resources, manpower, and moral authority. The seeds of nationalism planted during the First World War began to sprout and grow, leading to decolonization movements across the globe. The rise of nationalism wasn't just about the end of empires. It was about the birth of new nations, of city-states. In the ashes of the fallen empires, new countries arose. Some, like India, were large and diverse. Others, like Singapore, were small city-states. But each had its own identity, its own aspirations, and its own place in the world. The world wars were not just battles between empires. They were the crucibles in which the modern world was forged. The wars tore down the old world order and built a new one in its place, but newer doesn't always mean better. This new world was a world of nations, not empires. A world where the people, not the monarchs, held the power. Very much like described in the book of Daniel chapter 2, where it talks about a great statue representing world powers. The feet, or last biblical world power, representative of peoples in opposition to their leaders during the last days. Just like iron and clay doesn't mix. The impacts of the world wars on global politics and society are profound and far-reaching. They reshaped borders, created new nations, and sparked changes that continue to resonate today. The wars were a catalyst for the civil rights movement, the decolonization of Africa and Asia, and the creation of the United Nations. So as we navigate our world today, we must remember that the map we see is not the product of natural evolution, but of cataclysmic events. The world wars were the tectonic shifts that reshaped the world. They were the storms that toppled empires and gave birth to nations. So ponder this: the world as we know it, the nations we call home, the cities we live in, were shaped by the fall of empires, the rise of nationalism, and the formation of city-states. It is a testament to what happens when oppressed humanity reaches a tipping point. Humans have an amazing talent to create change, modify, rebuild, and forge ahead. Yet sometimes we wonder if we are not just undressing one evil to dress another. In the end, the world wars did not just change the world, they changed us. For the better or for the worst, only time will tell. Yet for those whose faith is in the Bible, we know even this new world will pass away, and an even newer world will replace it. In this new world, only justice will prevail, and death will be no more. Revelation 21 verses 3 and 4. Meanwhile, let us continue to remain watchful. Listen out for more shattering glass. In fact, the next shattering will be the shattering not of glass, but of this present world system. The rock that, according to the book of Daniel chapter 2, is cut, not by human hand, is destined to crash against all the kingdoms of this earth. Connect the dots, study history, study God's word. Thanks for watching.